And oh, I'm so sorry. I honestly just gave this whole talk thinking I was live and I wasn't. Oh my Lord. So now I get to do it again, but I know I'm late. Oh, I apologize. I hit the go live button and I don't know what happened. So here we go again. Hello and thanks for joining me. I'm Staci Ericson, co-founder along with Monica Irvin of Fundamentals for Kids. Fundamentals for Kids is a monthly manners subscription box where children focus on mastering one new manners or life skill per month. And today we're talking about the ways in which we are fundamentally changing the way parents and teachers teach manners. So, what is one word that would describe your current method of teaching manners? And feel free to go ahead and put those in the comments section. Maybe it's nagging, maybe it's bribing, maybe it's negative consequences, maybe it's just pleading, please. So the next question is, how's that working for you? Are you successfully teaching your children dining etiquette, like proper dining etiquette? Have you taught them what it means to be a good guest from start to finish? Are you teaching them how to greet their elders? What about how to introduce others? If not, you are not alone, my friends. And it's not because we're bad parents. It's because we think we'll get to it later. So in between school and laundry and ballet and soccer, we try to throw in a thing or two here and there, but then one day it dawns on us. My child's been invited to a fancy dinner, and I don't think he or she has a clue how to behave. So what do? We panic, we do a little spit and polish, and we kind of hope for the best. And then we forget about it again until another opportunity comes up, right? Here's the thing. We know that having good manners is your child's ticket to success when it comes to all of the following. Number one, having confidence to take the initiative. Number two, having healthy and happy relationships. Number three, having the best opportunities available to them. And number four, being responsible caretakers of the world they live in. Let me ask you, have you ever been afraid to take the initiative on something because you thought, well, who am I? I'm no one. Or maybe you felt awkward or were worried that people might laugh at you. Well, let's think of some examples of things our children might want to do but are afraid to take the initiative. How about start a conversation with someone they just met? How about pursue a friendship with someone they admire? What about start a club, a movement, a business? And what about speaking up for ourselves, right? We want our kids to be able to speak up for themselves. When we have the skills that make us feel confident in how we interact with the people around us, we're going to be much more likely to pursue these kinds of things. Contrary to popular belief, it's not all about the base, folks. It's all about the skills, And anyone can learn them, and everyone should learn them. We teach that. Okay, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about manners and relationships. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time here because this is so important. I mean, who doesn't want to have healthy, happy relationships? And who doesn't want our children to have healthy, happy relationships? Believe it or not, it all begins with good manners. I know that's a pretty bold statement, but I'm not talking about being pretentious, like how do you do? Oh, I'm splendid, thank you, how do you do? I'm talking about real relationships. Relationships, I think I coined that, where you can handle disagreements, disappointments, and tough times without destroying love, trust, and connectedness. How, you might be wondering? Well, by following what I call the good manners golden rule for healthy, happy relationships. Now, I know it sounds a little bit corny, but what it is under all circumstances, make sure your loved ones feel valued by you and comfortable in your presence. Have this be your guide when you're deciding what to say, how you say it, how loud you say it, and what your body language is. Now, when I say comfortable, I'm not talking about keeping our loved ones and our children in a perpetual state of bliss and contentment. No, I mean, yes, there are times where we have to discuss uncomfortable things, but I'm talking about not embarrassing our loved ones or shaming them or intimidating them or creating an environment of stress, anxiety, fear, or using exaggerated threats when we're unhappy with something a loved one does. If your spouse or partner or child feels valued by you and comfortable in your presence, you can get through anything and still have your relationship intact. Okay, so what does this look like? So I don't know if you've ever, I'm sure most of us have had times where we have found ourselves in a cycle of arguing, blaming, criticizing, arguing, blaming, criticizing. If you have, share this good manners rule with that person. Now, you don't have to call it the good manners rule. They might just roll their eyes at you, but share the concept. And then if you do, but you feel like you're the only one applying it, keep it up. Remind your spouse or child what you're trying to achieve, and it will rub off. Okay, your spouse or your loved one. We're really not talking about children yet. Some examples of what this looks like when we don't apply it and when we do. Okay, imagine we have a wife and she is addressing her husband and she's irritated. Her voice is shrill, her hands are on her hips, and she has a ticked off look on her face, and she says, "What the H-E double toothpicks? I am so tired of picking up your blank. You are such a slob. I don't know how people work with you." You think hubby feels valued and comfortable? All right, so what would the good manners alternative be? "Honey, when you leave your things everywhere, I don't feel like you value my time. I feel like I have to clean it up just to be comfortable in my own home. Could you help me out here?" So which approach do you think is going to be better for the relationship? Okay, so let's see. We've got a husband now. He's addressing his wife. He's just come home from a really stressful day at work. And wife starts pushing a list of things she needs done at him. "Do this, we gotta do that. I need this done right now." And husband abruptly gets in her face and shouts, "What do you do all day? You don't do anything. Why don't you go out there and get a job and bring home some blank money?" how does wifey feel now? Certainly not valued or comfortable, right? Okay, so good manners alternative, husband comes in the door, wife starts pushing her list. So he says, listen, I have had a really stressful day. I'm grumpy, and I need you to respect that I can't deal with thinking about these things right now. Could we please talk about it tomorrow? Well, how does she feel now? And how does that compare with the other method? Okay, so this takes practice, and we are human, we're not perfect. And what if in the heat of the moment, we forget our good manners golden rule and we lash out at our spouse? Can we fix that? Yes, we can fix it. It's best, it's best if you can catch yourself right away. Turn right around, go back into the room and say, oh geez, I'm so sorry. Can I please have a do-over? And then if your spouse hasn't stomped off and is willing, you do it over. You do it all over. You go back outside. You come through that door and you re-say everything in a way that makes him or her, feel valued and comfortable. And then, if it's welcome, a hug would be good. The reason this works is because when you have a do-over, you're replacing the feel bad thing with a feel good thing. If you just wait a while and say, I'm sorry after the fact, your spouse may accept your apology, but she had to carry around that feel bad thing for a while. And guess what? It might linger because that's the last experience she had with that topic. With a do-over, this lets the other person know that you're really trying. And this is what we call a sincere apology. And we teach that. Okay, so that's adult to adult, golden rule of good manners. Anyone have any questions about that? Go ahead and comment if you want. Now, for adult to children, I remember when I first discovered that I could discipline my children without being angry. What? In fact, I could do it lovingly. It seems so obvious to me now, but back then, it seemed like a contradiction. Discipline and parenting, anger, discipline and parent anger just went hand in hand, right? If you had to send your child to their room or in a timeout on the bench, you did it with a sharp, angry tone and you marched them over to their punishment. Well, guess what? What happens when we do that is our child's focus turns to us. My mom is making me feel bad. She's keeping me from playing. She's being mean. What we really want is for our children's focus to be on them and their behavior, not on us and how we're reacting. When a child's behavior requires us to intervene, for example, if your 3-year-old throws sand at somebody in the sandbox because he can't have their shovel, rather than shouting, no, and grabbing his arm and dragging him over to the side and telling him angrily, you don't throw sand, you sit here for 10 minutes and think about it. Well, instead, we can turn our child to us and look them in the eyes and say firmly something like, I love you too much to let you do that. When you throw sand at people because you don't get your way, they're not going to want to play with you. And I want you to have friends to play with. Now he sees that you're not his enemy. In fact, he can see that you're on his side. You're trying to help him with his frustration. and help him solve this problem, not to make him feel even worse. So then you can say something like, do you need some time to sit by yourself? Or do you want to say sorry to the little girl and see if she still wants to play with you? Now, of course, that little girl might not want to play with your child. And that's just the natural consequences of your child's action. What are you going to say? I'm sorry, she doesn't want to play with you. Maybe she will later. You think you'll throw sand the next time you're frustrated? When we are upset by something our child does, we need to stop and ask ourselves, what do I want to achieve here? And what do I need to say or do to achieve it? Because that's the goal, right? To teach our children to do better next time. When we're expressing our anger, that's usually about us. That's us letting off steam. That's not about changing our child's behavior. It usually has no bearing on it at all. If we apply the golden rule of good manners in these situations, excuse me, that's my phone. If we apply the golden rule of good manners in these situations, guess what? We can discipline and foster our parent-child relationship at the same time. And we teach that. Okay, so enough about relationships for now. Let's talk about opportunities. Who of us doesn't want to have the most opportunities available to us? And who of us doesn't want our children to have the most opportunities available to them? Well, guess what? Our child can be smart, get good grades, and be really talented, and that can get him pretty far. But we don't know what opportunities are going to come his way. And imagine having a door shut on your child only because she didn't know a certain rule of etiquette and she inadvertently offended someone. Now, it's not far-fetched. You would be surprised how often I hear about young people blowing an interview because they came across rude. Now, imagine if your child felt comfortable in any situation with any person, no matter how senior, famous, intimidatingly successful, no matter how fancy, formal, or foreign the place is. Who doesn't want that? We teach that. Who does not want to send out children into this world who are responsible, compassionate, and strive to make the world a better place? We teach that. When we begin early to teach children manners, not just actions, but the why of good manners, it's so much easier. Of course, you can still do it later. You can, but there's going to be some pain. And really, who wants their child to go through some pain unnecessarily? So what is it that we're doing that's so fundamentally different? Well, I just alluded to this, but we are approaching teaching manners in a way that fosters a good parent-child relationship rather than straining it. Usually when we're trying to teach behavior and manners, it can be, parents can get annoyed and kids can get annoyed, and it creates a strain on the relationship. But guess what? Teaching manners does not have to be a bone of contention. It does not have to involve threats or punishment. And it certainly doesn't have to be boring. In fact, it can be fun for the whole family. I mean, that's why we call it fundamentals. We put the fun in fundamentals. We're also bringing the etiquette class to you in your home where manners begin. And we're breaking down etiquette and manners into one skill at a time. And then we're using multiple methods to teach that same concept. So kids are going to get it, and it's going to stick. Every skill that we teach has its own complete and unique cohesive package of up to 20, usually 18 to 20 different methods of teaching that same concept. So that it can be activities, it can be games, it can be crafts, it can be challenges, it might be videos, it might be songs. And they're all based on a lovable, relatable storybook character. And then, and this is so important, I think, we provide parent support. We're here for you, just as we've been doing for the last 11 weeks. We're going to have a regular Q&A on Facebook, maybe not every week, but perhaps once a month, where we can talk about these skills. And also where parents can share their experiences, give each other tips, share, oh, I'm having trouble with this, what did you do about that? And laugh, and just be together in a non-judgmental, compassionate, and loving environment. Monica and I have been in this industry for 20 combined years, and we know how important these skills are. I so wish I had had this program when I was first raising my kids. In fact, I wish I had it when I was a child. But our goal is to eventually have this curriculum taught in every school so that every child has access to learning good manners. We want all children to be able to meet his or her personal potential. All children, not just those who are lucky enough to have parents who make learning a priority. But we have to start here with you and grow a following. That's what we have to do to make this happen. And Monica and I, we are so fired up because we know this program works. And we can't wait for your children to experience the results and for you to experience the results. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you found this talk informative and inspirational. And if so, please like and share. We're trying to get this message out. And if you have any questions about the program, please feel free to reach me by email at Staci with an I, STACI, at fundamentals4kids.com. Remember, we go live February 1st. That's when the subscription boxes first go on sale. If you haven't already, go grab your coupon at www.fundamentalsforkids.com. And we're going to do this. We're going to do this. So thanks again for joining me. We have one last Facebook Live in this style with Monica next week. So I hope you'll join us then. Bye for now.